have you really come here to try to get a gauge and impulse on? It's kind of just want to kind of collect what people's expectations are, so I can try and deliver this information to everybody.
In general, what happened in America? How did we get customers there? How it works with collaboration? Do we have teams? Where? Things like that.
All right, cool. So collaboration, acquisition,
And maybe customers.
Yeah, cool.
Sorry, go ahead.
What kind of projects exactly do we do there? Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What lessons you learned from your mistakes and how to improve them?
Jakob will think something else. Okay, anything else? Or?
There were some quite innovative technologies in this project, and I'm a little bit interested because I'm not sure if Ernie is the company who is delivering these technologies, and how we achieve that we are we win the project.
Have you identified differences in culture, how you have to adjust your selling, how you get the project in difference to Switzerland or USA?
Alright, cool.
So almost everything.
Alright, so I've designed the session on purpose to be try to be a bit interactive, okay? And I'm going to just hold this down for a second. So today's all about America and our journey to go to America, yeah? And one of the things that strikes me is America is all about individualism, okay? So I want today to be all about individualism, okay? That's a reflection on what have I been doing, what are you about, and what is Ernie about as an organization, okay? And there is no other place on this planet that is any less about yourself than America, okay? Can be a little bit of a different notion for some other cultures. So when I think about the journey that we've taken to get to America, so one small thing, I wrote down 3 different things I want people to think about while I'm presenting, okay? And I'm going to come back to these at the end of the session. So the very, very first of these is, what are your personal strengths and weaknesses, okay? Really kind of look at this, reflect on yourself, what things match to you, what things do you think you do differently, what things can you do better, yeah? Really, really think about this throughout the session. Second thing is, based on yourself, how can you leverage what you have to be more successful either for yourself or for the company, yeah? Which usually means yourself. And last but not least, let's try to think about how we can take everything that we've learned from this year and start weaving it into next year. Okay? So in short, I want today to be all about individualism. And this maybe starts to answer one of the questions about culture. So when I think about myself, so we're going to start about individualism, this is sort of like me in a nutshell, okay? Some guy who's done a lot of things, worked in a lot of places, and arguably, has bounced around in quite a few different environments, situations, and things, okay? Definitely qualified and skilled, but there's also kind of a little bit of a pattern there, yeah? Anyone notice the pattern?
Anti-pattern.
Okay. Anyone else? No? Yeah? Any patterns that you see?
Change.
Yeah, okay, change. So, and I said that I was going to talk about myself, so I'm going to actually start talking about myself, or about individuals. And so, this is me in a nutshell, okay? So this is sort of like the review and the feedback that I get virtually every single year from my managers and leaders. Okay? Anyone that's worked with me can probably agree with the first 2 or 3, yeah? And do you agree with that? Yes? No? Yes? Okay. But yeah, so this is what I had to work with, and after getting the same feedback 10, 20, 30 times, I tried to do something new, okay? And there was one here, this one here, strategic, which I never really agreed with this year, because someone told me I had no ability to be strategic. So, me being who I am, I decided to do something a bit visionary, yeah? So I started off this year thinking to myself, okay, people don't think I know how to be strategic. So I'm going to try and launch into what I can do to be successful, okay? What can I do that's strategic, interesting, to make sure that that grade would be struck off the list. So I went on a small mission to try and look for projects in London, America, East Coast, West Coast, you name it, yeah? I also was exploring in a few other places, but I started to predominantly look at countries that were speaking English. Okay. And that's one of my strengths, obviously, you know, guy from London. Okay. That's about me. Second thing I started to do was look at what weaknesses I have and who and where I could start collaborating with people to start patching up those weaknesses. Helena wants to join too. Sorry. So the second thing I started to do for myself was started to say to myself, what is the organization around me about? Okay, and our organization is, as far as I can remember, is 100 by 100. And I started to think about, you know, what am I? Who am I? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And how can I start leveraging 100 by 100 to start hitting these results that I wanted to try to find? Okay. So when people say to me, you know, how, where, what, you know, what is America? America is 100 by 100. Okay. Any questions?
There are a lot of 100 in America. It's big.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But the thing I started to do was I started to look at how can I use the 100 by 100 platform to achieve a result for myself and start looking at my personal profile and working in a way to get results using that. Okay. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because we all have personal profiles. We all have different kinds of strengths and weaknesses, and we all have this flexible environment around us to try and leverage that. Okay. But in short, one of the most important things that I started to look at was this word collaboration. Okay. So when people are actually, you know, big topic here is always how did we start acquiring projects? Okay. Simple question for everyone. Who thinks here sales is easy? Or who thinks they're very good at sales? Okay, hands up. No? Okay. So I'm going to tell you one of the biggest, easiest secrets that you'll ever discover in your whole life. Okay. Another question for you. Who here is good at collaborating? Okay. So if you want to do business, if you want to win customers, if you want to be successful in the market, the only thing that you need to do is learn how to collaborate with people. If you can collaborate with people, money will start to flow. And this is exactly what I started to do. I started to look at who I was, and as a person, I started to try to search out and seek people who I had a real connection with. In this particular instance, I started connecting with people that were in the CTO sector, yeah, because I'm a technologist. I've got quite a lot of credibility as an agilist, a business guy, a product guy, you name it, yeah, even a bit of marketing guy sometimes. So I started to try to find like-minded people in the different environments, that is, like in America and the UK, who I could start collaborating with. And then based on that collaboration, I started to then look at how our system could start delivering on that collaboration.
What do you mean with collaboration? I mean, you met these people, and the part of collaboration was you just offered your help solving any problems that they had.
Absolutely.
And then you bring Ernie as a company into this game and just present it like.
It wasn't even that. I just started to work with people to try to understand their problems.
Okay, not directly like a mandate, but listening and thinking.
Absolutely.
How did you avoid that people think, oh, this guy, he's nice, but he's trying to sell me something?
But that's the thing, I never tried to sell them anything. So what I started to do was I started to talk to people and say to them, hey, I'm interested in this. Hey, I'm interested in this. You're interested in that too, yeah? How's it going? What are your challenges, yeah? This is my experience, that's your experience. Sometimes they were kind of small things. It's like trying to create a bit of an exchange. And creating an exchange starts to create a relationship. And then after that, usually, not every time, you can start looking for opportunities to start working together. Business is about one or more, just say, let's say for the sake of argument, 2 people working together. And when you're thinking about who you want to work with, it's usually that you're going to someone that you're going to have a lot of fun with, someone that understands you, someone that doesn't give you a headache, someone that you can call and say, hey, let's go for a beer. If someone qualifies for all of those things, then you've got a reason to do business with them. Doesn't have to always be like that. If you create this chemistry, then voila, you'll find business.
Do you think this is something special for the Anglo-American room, or?
Sorry, Jacob, can you hear? Yes. Jacob? Yeah, okay. Yes, sorry. You said it. Okay. You said, is it special for Anglo-Saxon?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that, and this is what you guys can answer to me, yeah? I mean, I am Anglo-Saxon, yeah? But since living in Switzerland in 5 years, I've managed to connect with many different people that talk about topics that I'm interested in, okay? And now this is going to be the really, say, the sensitive part, yeah? When I first started trying to do sales, I tried to do it in a way where I was kind of imitating how other people would do it, yeah? Try to start following a process that other people defined. And this year was the first year where I said, okay, screw that, yeah? I'm getting these -3s every year, yeah? Do I really want to listen to the people that give me a -3 every year? Or do I need to try to find something that's going to work for me? And this was the first time where I started to say, I'm going to be, and I used a really, really simple word, authentic. Okay. And it's not conclusive because there are lots of different types of sales guys, yeah? But the style that works for me, the style that makes me successful, is the word authentic. Okay. And authentic means people can see my strengths and weaknesses very transparently. But despite or because of that, they want to work with me because they feel they can start creating a right team around me. Okay? And I don't want to make it about me because behind me is this gentleman over here, Jakob.
The
think he's waiting.
Your cue.
I don't know.
Yes, yes. Okay. A bit more obvious, maybe. Do you have some words on collaboration?
Yeah, like I heard a question if in between lines, what's the difference between the US and Swiss guys? And for me, like one perfect story about this is the project us, where they arrived to us to be a customer of Ernie. Even before we have signed anything, they just introduced me, and then in a few minutes, the username and password from their Azure account appears in my mailbox. And there has been all their business in the cloud, in the Azure, sent by some two guys to me, and do whatever you want, do whatever you need. This is still complete trust, blind trust, as I would call it, maybe even a little bit of naivety. But this is totally different from the collaboration with Swiss guys. Swiss guys never ever sent me the username and password. They are like, yeah, this is me, and yeah, do something this, and then send it to me, and I will deploy. But they completely blindly throw themselves to us, and please help us. This is something like what really struck me, and what I like, yeah, now this is a difference. That this is not a typical Swiss customer. This is the US customer.
Yeah. I mean, he has to work with the Swiss guys, so he knows them better than me. But I think culture can come into it. I don't think culture has to be part of it, because I think even in Switzerland, when I was building the community, many people put their trust in me to help them. Yeah. And they put their trust in me with their personal time, which is not an easy thing to normally get hold of, yeah? And a lot of personal time at that. But so I think that the real thing here about the USA projects is there has been a very strong focus on trying to have a very, very, very strong collaboration. Okay. And when it comes to acquisition, I can't say this enough, authentic. And this is, I wish I knew this word 5 years ago, 10 years ago, yeah? Because I probably would have started selling a hell of a lot more back then, yeah? But had I stuck to who I was as a person and tried to just focus on building relationships, then, yeah, I would have, perhaps this kind of stuff may have happened a bit earlier. And the reason why I sometimes say this is because I know, I am still, and was more of an engineer before. And when you're an engineer and you see the word something like sales, it's like the word that you run away from, okay? Really, really badly. And it's, let's face it, who likes a sales guy, yeah? Okay. Slick guy, a little bit annoying, doesn't leave you alone, keeps sending you emails, please buy this, please buy this. But especially our business, more than any other one, is all about this word, collaboration, networking, and developing relationships. So I should probably add here then that through this kind of way of connecting, I made one or two very, very solid links. Okay, it's a real big shame that Mark Lehman isn't here, because I remember when maybe this also comes into culture. I remember I got this email from this dude, and he just at the very beginning, at the very top of the email, he just sort of said, Jazz, my brother from another mother. Yeah, that's the kind of relationship I started to develop. Okay, and then through that connection and through that mutual understanding, we started to look for different projects to start working on together. Okay. Does that answer some of the questions?
Yes.
I think it's important to say that, to include the fact that you're on your level, you talk to your like-minded people. A sales guy who is on the top level needs to talk to management guys. They need to act in their way. They need to do their way. So we all have our different levels of our areas, like you say. You're authentic within your own your own scope.
Yeah,
And that's where you can interact with others. And as soon as you try and deal with something out of your scope, it seems like that's when you start becoming a sales guy. Because then you're just you're telling them what they want to hear. To kind of say, yes, we can do that, and yes, I do this, and yes, I've got guys who can do that. And then it starts becoming a sales pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you deal with them directly on the same level and say, yes, oh, that problem, yeah, sounds great, I would do this and that, and then you start collaborating, or at least you
exactly
start with it.
Exactly. And this kind of collaboration is a differentiator. Yeah. I mean, look at our business. Someone needs an app, a website, an API, XYZ, yeah? As fun and interesting as it is, there's 20, 30 other guys that can do that, yeah? So what's our differentiator? It's just purely the relationship that we can build with someone. Just like it would be with you, who do you want to work with? Purely based on the relationship you have.
Don't think about the third person because you already know one who's it's comfortable to work with, so you choose that one.
Exactly. And it's when I started doing this, when I started doing this, I was kind of really questioning myself. So I'm kind of going back to my sort of London groove, yeah. Okay, London's all about networking, and it felt initially I thought, okay, it is just because the culture, right? American, English, I can definitely speak with Americans, yeah. But then I started to realize a bit more deeper. It was just the word authentic. And now, whenever I'm walking into a room and I have a meeting with someone new and it doesn't go well, I normally ask myself, the first question I ask myself is, was I being authentic? Yeah. And if the answer is no, then I think, oh, shit. And that's the bit where I start thinking, why? Why do I need to do that? And normally people become, it's easy to get out of that authentic mode because we get a bit nervous, we get a bit insecure, and we try and hide behind solid processes. But the processes are not supposed to hide who you are individually. Okay. Anything to add? Okay, I should actually add something here, Jakob. So, and we're talking about collaboration. So with each of the projects that we won, okay, the collaboration behind the projects was incredibly different, which Jakob knows more than anybody else there, yeah?
Yes.
Do you want to describe what was so different?
I guess everything. We have a Dilog, which we started in Slovakia, Romanian partnership with JavaScript. We have project that's purely done in Spain with .NET and Azure technologies. And this is actually also some weakness, but it was so diverse that we have from SDC point of view, we have really the trouble to deliver in some structure. We have been really Jazz was so fast, So what we can do, whoever we have available, we throw to Jazz and hopefully hoped for the best. Not working every time, but yeah, that was our process that time.
And then we throw in a little bit of Lasse.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Lasse at the end because I'm going to fit him in. And Jakob is completely right. And I think the thing here was that the projects that we were doing, so I'll make it easy. I sort of decided to go back to my roots, and that's very fast, aggressive MVP development. Yeah. So all of a sudden, Jakob had to deal with the fact that I wanted releases to happen every week minimum, sometimes two times a week. And this is part of the collaboration thing, I was actually helping the customers develop entire MVPs of the architecture and asking the team to jump in and start fleshing out the features. So the good and the bad thing there was there was so much stuff happening in my head that Jakob's team had to learn and adapt to that, I think. I would say. Is that correct, Jakob?
Yes, I will just correct you. One, like it was not completely my team. It's I don't want to take credit or at the end it was team for all SDCs. Now it's the team from the Spain, but I cannot take the credit for everything or blame.
Yes. So he did take the blame for many things. And just one caveat here, like the majority of the projects are being delivered in Spain, okay? And I'm just, Jakob was the initial SDC assigned leader of the entire engagement. So he was initially responsible for configuring which team is going to work where. And then, together with all this collaboration, we were moving so fast that we forgot about Lasse, who had to kind of come in and save our ass halfway through.
The whole UI part.
Yes.
I like these sort of projects where you come in and it is very collaborative in that it's spread out throughout Europe. We're here in Spain, in Romania. I think Rasman was in Romania, and that was on the first one. That was in D-Log, and I came in quite late and had to design the UI for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fine. We had a little issue with one of the American clients first, who didn't really, just trying to put me down a bit. But the rest of the team kind of wanted it still. They kind of liked it, and then it went through, and a little bit up and down. And in the end, it turned out well.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it was not so much the fact that I could do some UI. It was also, I mean, if you're not just talking D-Log, we're talking the other one as well. It was also the fact that I could collaborate with the people. Not to keep going on about it, but the collaboration part where I could be like a mediator between the different countries in terms of maybe of the language. It had some language barriers between America and Spain, and that was part of my. I see that as a big part of my involvement as well. So yeah.
That you won some of the projects, and you managed to acquire customers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I also would like to say. You read on the anime homepage, we won another customer. That was success, but not much about progress.
Mm. Yes. I'll take that on the chin. So, we were successful, yeah? I mean, what did we win, Martin? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects within 2 months? What's that, 3 months?
Roughly.
Yeah.
Then a 6th one came in a few months later.
So, it was incredibly successful. We did win a lot of projects. And more importantly, is suddenly we started to feed in new types of projects into our system. Okay. New types of projects, new ways of collaborating, different kind of speed, different kinds of technology platforms, yeah?
But stupid question. You were there all the time, or how did you manage just video conferences and like Skype conferences?
Majority digital, yeah.
Ah, yeah?
Yeah.
So you didn't even have to be present there, you just like managed it from Switzerland?
Yes.
Incredible.
Yes.
Because I expected that we have to be there so that they can feel you like, yes, you have to be there in the morning, like, good morning, everything's fine, no, okay, go get a coffee, something like this.
Yeah, exactly. And this I don't know if this is cultural or not, but in the States, people don't actually meet up too much. So big.
I mean, okay, I can understand that, but I expected the opposite.
Yeah, it's just the country's so big that it takes such a long time to get around. So they've been using a lot of digital tech. Yeah.
It's not like Switzerland that you just cross in a couple of hours. Okay.
Yeah, and precisely. And I think people, this is my own personal experience. I think Switzerland people like to really shake someone's hand, look in their eye, get a feeling for them. In the States, Patrick Mason. Yes?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So he's got a different way, no. But I think in the States, it's very simple, which is say, okay, let's try it. And when they say let's try it, that means let's see what you can do.
Okay.
And is it like that or that?
50-50.
Yeah. maybe that's and you know, sometimes people laugh or make jokes about the American culture, but why waste all that energy and time trying to shake someone's hand when you just throw in a small investment and see what they're about?
Yeah.
And so everything was very digital, yeah. And yes, so the market has been very successful. We have been winning project after project. I think the success is also something that the STC are feeling, okay? All of a sudden we're doing projects with IoT, with blockchain, whole host of different kind of cloud technology, and I can't think of anything else. Is there anything else, Echo? Technology-wise?
Yeah, like Google Stack or Mean Stack we didn't do previously at SDC at all, so this was the new one as well. New and sexy. Mean.
Yeah. So there was a lot of success, and admittedly I didn't update anybody about success, and that was probably because me and him were fighting all the time about delivery, yeah? And that's my fault, because I was very aggressive about how fast I don't even want to use the word aggressive, I was probably nervous. I mean, imagine if you're suddenly winning projects and you have to deliver projects to some place that's 7 hours away by any kind of conventional aircraft, and suddenly everyone's watching you. Would you really want to start updating people about what's going good and bad all the time? And I think that though, and this is probably a little bit more on my next topic, but what was actually happening was we were reinventing the way we were delivering the projects on a very rapid, in a rapid cycle, yeah, that it became very difficult to know what to communicate. Okay, I mean, you guys, I don't know, most people work in Scrum, 2-week cycles, pretty standard, you have a formula to it, yeah. We were experimenting with, like, let's go from Scrum to Kanban to Chaos. We have a conference the next day. Who's going to stay up all night programming for this? There was a whole load of different kind of variables. All of a sudden, we had to try to work with a country that was 7 hours behind us, and a country that likes to work, for its clients to work by its time zones. I mean, it's America, as Mr. Trump always says, America first, yeah? So these are all challenges, okay? And these are all like the new things that come up. We can probably say it's like a little bit of self-centeredness, that we do much of our business in Switzerland. And maybe this is also a little bit of a disadvantage. Sometimes we think of 100 by 100 around us, yeah, in Switzerland, but we don't actually think 100 by 100 as an organization that's international, that's going to grow in many, many different places. Yeah. So those many different formulas of different challenges, but we were successful. Okay. Mm-hmm.
What was the time range of the projects on average?
Some of the projects are still running, but let's just say for the very first project it was digital water, IoT project, fairly standard. Okay, we had a very long running. It was a 3-month prototype. Okay. It still isn't finished. Okay. But then the next project was a bit of an exciting one. We were asked to put together a blockchain application, okay, within 4 weeks. And I think some of you remembered some pictures of me in London, perhaps on Yammer, yeah. And that was because the conference was in London. We had to put everything together so the client could demonstrate a blockchain application in this very, very, very large corporate, for this very large corporate company that was thinking about what they're doing with their brand, okay? And they had to deliver that. So the projects have been very variable, basically. But it's America, yeah? People want things fast.
Question is, would you be as successful in another country? Because you said you're authentic, that's how you connect, that's how you build a relationship, and that's how you were successful, right?
Yeah.
So your authenticity, the way you communicate, works well in an Anglo-Saxon environment, but what if you would have to go to India? Would it work the same way?
But I think I have some advantages in India.
Okay, fine. What if you go to South America?
So this is the really this is what makes life a bit difficult, yeah. Because success, okay, what is success? Is success what the CEO or whoever is showing, on a slide to everybody, who we won 5 projects, or is success the fact that I learned how to play my game that is authentic to who I am, yeah? And this is what I started really thinking about, because there's so many things that go wrong, yeah? So many things that go wrong when you start delivering projects. But I kept saying to myself, I just need to try and be myself. Okay? And the really hard part is trying to be yourself, but still be open to learning. Okay? Which means changing a little bit, or changing parts of yourself, but at the same time trying to be authentic.
Yeah, but my point was that being authentic means being yourself, which means you communicate the way you communicate. Which means that it could be, as a Dutch person, I'm really assertive.
Yeah.
That could hurt a lot to somebody who is not receptive to getting comments. Right? So it's like, I mean, may have a negative effect in certain countries because of my way of communication.
Yes.
Whereas in other countries it would really work.
So I completely sympathise and I understand. I mean, I'm a Londoner, I came to Switzerland, so I had to adapt as well. But I think the short answer to everything is, I think it can work, yeah. And I think, when I think about, say, last year, when I was doing a lot of business development in Switzerland, I'd managed to network with so many people, yeah. So, and that was just me being me. And the only thing I wasn't doing was selling, yeah, or not selling so much. And that was because suddenly I was trying to not be myself. And I really believe that. And it's really crazy how I think that the number of people that take the time to talk to me, because I am authentic, is ridiculous. Yeah, it's really, really high. Okay. So I think, obviously we all have to adjust to where we are, but I think if you are yourself, it's probably the only way to be successful. Yeah. Great. You should try going to India next time. But they'll probably love you. You're probably like big.
Where I stand out, China.
Well, it's easy to sell Indian services in Switzerland, but sell Swiss services in India, that's
nice challenge.
Okay, maybe 2018, huh? Yeah. But yeah, so that was success, and the thing for me, the success was being myself, and the other thing about success was learning and adapting and growing with the STC. Okay, and that's why I have Jakob here. I wanted to also bring over everyone from Spain, but they're having the Christmas party tonight, yeah. And everything to do with success is so much more. It's completely inclusive, And one thing, I mentioned for the camera, if anyone ever watches this from Spain, yeah, the amount of trust and support I got from these guys was ridiculous, yeah. And the support and trust was all about saying, okay, keep going, be yourself. Yeah. Sometimes him as well. Okay. Do you agree, Jakob?
Yes, definitely.
So, okay, I wanted to talk about failure. I don't know, people don't always talk about failure, but I wanted to talk about failure. And yeah, what can I say about failure? So the thing with failure is that it's I find it really the top thing in my head is, okay, at the beginning of this year when I started doing this stuff, I told Christoph that I'm going to make $1 million, yeah, and I didn't do that. Made like $500,000, so I failed. Okay, and it's really funny how sometimes inside the company people are like, yay, brilliant. And I'm just there sitting there thinking, shit, I didn't reach my goal. Okay, and that was that, and that's a lot of that can kind of come into the way you interpret what something means to you. Okay. But I did actually feel that was a big kind of failure, yeah? The second kind of thing that I learned about a failure, or maybe you can call it a lesson learned, yeah, is as soon as I started winning projects, suddenly I became obsessed with trying to deliver them and not so focused on trying to win them or win more projects. Okay. Probably another little thing that I've had to like take on the chin and learn. And last but not least, and this is probably also, definitely not, I think it's going to be the hardest thing for anyone to ever learn to do, is I failed initially to trust my team completely. I failed to try and build a system around me because I suddenly felt too involved and started to try to control, but support and help everyone deliver the projects. Yeah. And one of the hardest things to do is learn how to trust people to deliver on projects, and more importantly, trust them to make mistakes and learn. Okay. And these are sort of my key takeaways. And one last failure was not bringing Lasse in any sooner into the process.
Typical technical guy like you are. Not the first one.
Yeah. And any failures on the SDC side, Jakob, that you want to own up to now on camera?
We failed so greatly and so many times. I don't know how many projects we didn't won because we don't have available skills. Just came with Python. We have we don't have any Python developer sitting around. And then we tried to hire it with external partners. Then it took too much time, so the opportunity was closed. And at the end we missed the external partner as well because they very sour Python project we worked for, and there has been at the end no Python project because it took so much time, which for a US project is 1 week. And then yes.
Mm-hmm.
Then what else I have here? Yeah. We have the story where we put a wrong person to, Jess, you have been talking about trust and you didn't trust your team, but in some cases you trust too much. We put wrong person for a wrong role and we failed to recognize it for 2 months. And this creates lots of
Twice. Is it twice?
At the end, we failed to make this customer happy. At the Digital Motors, I think at the end, right?
I think exactly. We did fail. So I mean, and that's perhaps the most challenging part about this, because we're talking about success, we're talking about collaboration. You have to imagine me and Jakob are having very interesting conversations on a daily basis. And there's mistakes, failures, and problems all over the place. And again, one of the reasons why some of the projects have been a bit under the hood, yeah. And I don't want to make that as too much of an excuse, but I think it was just the very first time we were doing them. Yeah, a lot of stress for his guys, a lot of stress on us here. Okay. Any other questions about failure?
Did you learn?
Yes. So, yeah, so I mean, learning is good. I think we have learned now to deliver. Okay, we learned that we need to get involved. So if you have a project, just get her involved. Doesn't matter if she doesn't do anything.
Just positive aura.
Exactly. She's just authentically brilliant. I think that we've learned now how to start engaging more customers in the US. We learned how to scale our services for the US, and we've learned how to collaborate in very new ways. You know, one of the biggest changes that I've brought in about 2 months ago was, it's going to sound really bad on camera now, but I really hate this. I started to set up the teams as one big American team, for the most part, yeah. And this one big team is responsible for delivering all projects. And this team accepts work like in terms of features like a Kanban. So there's one core unit that is becoming incredibly skilled at the mean stack, incredibly skilled at data analytics and all this kind of stuff. And they they manage the way they're doing the work themselves. That's probably the best thing. And I don't want to say if it's right or wrong. Okay, it's an experiment. As everyone has said this year, it's all about small experiments. And for me, it feels more spiritually like the way a software house should work. And probably the Spanish guys are not here, but I think Jakob probably can also chime in here. But the feelings that we're getting from the developers is it's a very agile environment. It's very kind of passionate, very engaging. And for the most part, people are incredibly happy, motivated.
And people are asking to get on that project. And not just from the Spain, from just as well from Slovakia and so on. So people are really like, can we go and work on that project? So word is really spreading around.
And my question then for the audience is, what have you learned about USA today as well? Is there anything that's interesting that you're learning today?
I think we learned that we know less and we have to learn more. I think it's something important.
No, absolutely. Anything else?
Oh, my brain's working.
Yeah. So who here is currently delivering projects with the STC? Hands up. Okay, 2, 3. Does this seem familiar or different?
I could have a mirror with less statements about collaborating with different people from different countries, like with Manila and Slovakia. I know the American people, I was traveling there, so that they're really open and you fast can connect to them. I just try to imagine like me walking around in Switzerland and getting connection, like working with different people that I probably never thought about. We could maybe have a professional solution, like they need help, we can deliver something that can help them. So that's why I'm still thinking if I learned something. I'm still thinking, so at least put me through.
But that's exactly the message, right? The message is go out there and talk to people, find out what their problems are.
But just on a friendly, it's
yeah.
not like, hey, you know Aaron, better ask
No,
Aaron.
but talk to people. But talk to people you already know, right?
Yeah,
that's the key message. I think.
Exactly.
Go from that.
Exactly. And I mean, so I don't want to be too presumptuous today, but like, I was recently even approached by one of our former onions. I won't mention his name just because it makes it easier, but like, he just said to me, can you just write me an offer? I want you to do a workshop. No acquisition cost, just whatever.
because he knew you.
Yeah. That's for me is the heart of business. And I like that kind of business.
That's not business. That's being authentic. That's the difference. Because I don't want to be a salesperson. I know I can sell myself because I am authentic. I tell you directly in your face what I think.
Yeah.
Or I make jokes with you. But I never dare like selling something.
Exactly.
I don't like that. Do you want that? Please buy it. It's cheap. You can have 2 of them. So that's my main problem selling things.
And I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah. And I think that's why I really really feel this. I think it's a shame that Didi's gone, but I personally think Didi's like one of the best sales guys here. Yeah. Every time he wants to organize a hack session or something like this, I'm gonna go. Yeah. and it's just because it's just authentic. You know, I remember Jonas Schock was just saying to me, you know, every time Diddy wants something, you just can't say no. That's the kind of situation you want to be in. And then it's up to you to decide how to be that authentic. Okay.
That's about getting your energy across. So he is very excited about what he's doing, and that shows, right? And then you get similarly excited. That builds also that connection. It's like the energy that you display.
Exactly. Yeah. Business is all about people. And we've been making friends and influencing people since we were this big.
How about the process? Sorry, in the US, how you got started with maybe delivering a minimum.
Yes.
So what mentioning maybe how you got into them and how.
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to talk about MVPs, Jakob. Okay. Yeah. So all of the American projects tend to follow the way I work. Yeah. Which is good because I met people that are like me. And the way we tend to work is incredibly fast and aggressive, as we discussed, yeah. And I'm kind of like, I like the way of trying to bring things to life and prove them incredibly quickly. So yeah, so we've been like rapid. Our approach is effectively a high quality, rapid prototyping environment. It's involved a lot of what we've learned now is it should always involve someone like Lasse, yeah, because he's a genius at digging people out of the trouble, yeah. But like effectively, we've been trying to like focus on what the customer needs, focus on the customer wants, and try to constantly adapt to those two things, yeah. And constantly try to validate stuff with real working prototypes that the customers can then start giving to their markets. And this is effectively becoming a unique selling point. You know, one of the things that I always tell new prospective customers is Ernie's got 100 by 100. Okay. What that means is we come knocking at your door, we can give you a personalized service to help you rapidly innovate something. And the minute it starts to grow, we can scale. The minute you want to start doing business in Asia, we can help you. You want to come to Europe, we can help you. Just sounds nice. Sounds very supportive. Is that what you want? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but it's just for everyone to understand how you get started with getting a small team together to deliver something very quickly. It could be as small as 1-2 persons, and then you start building out. Okay, let's make it a bit slightly bigger, and then in the end the client is happy to sign because he's already seen that you are passionate and you help him.
Exactly, yeah. And I think I don't think he's. I'm going to talk about Ivan. Okay, Jakob.
Yes.
So one of the developers, I have to say, absolutely shone in this environment. Yeah. And the reason why he's absolutely shone, and I don't want to take favorites. Everyone's really good, but the reason why he absolutely shone is the first time ever he started like telling the product owner, the project manager, right? Sorry guys, that's complete bullshit. I need the answers right now. And that was everyone looking eye to eye, you know. And let's face it, yeah. If you try, anyone that tries to pin me down for a meeting has got no chance, yeah. Right? I hate going to meetings. This guy was able to like say to me, "You're going to do this right now," and we started doing it. And it was really inspiring to watch someone do it. That would traditionally be the person that was being told what to do. And I guess this is kind of the groove that we're getting. It's
take responsibility as well, isn't it? Yeah.
It's taking ownership.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess this has been maybe this is why things have been a bit messy in the beginning, but we're cultivating that as a working practice. Yeah. And feeling of trust, feeling of you own the process. If the product owner doesn't turn up.
My Interesting question. I mean, I'm focusing now, or I have two projects where we start the same teams, or at least the same people from the different solution delivery sectors. This approach, having like one big team, which is like an epic team or feature team, which just splits the content on a lower level, like for a country. Did you already think about like spreading it, having a second?
Yeah.
Let's call it tribe, or however you want to call it.
Yeah. I mean, my kind of focus has been to just prove what I have is working, and it's going to take time. You know, when we look at like profitability, sometimes it's looking great, sometimes it goes a bit down. Yeah, and but that's so. What I feel like, you know, ironically, for the first time, I'm actually trying to focus. Yeah, I'm just trying to look at what I have and trying to make it seamless, especially with like the help of Iveta and Bart in the STC. If it's successful, I think it'll speak for itself. But I do, you know, hope that it becomes. One of the things I also learned, and this is also maybe focus, is don't go around trying to prove that your way is better. Show it. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm trying to live software development the way I used to do it. Hopefully it's working out well for the teams and the people that are involved, and hopefully the results will speak for themselves. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think there is the possibility to have a business unit, for example, in future there? Do you think there's the possibility to have a business unit in the USA, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely the plan.
If I can tell you here something, basically the plan. We created a business plan. This Q3. What could we use out of these projects and the learnings? How could we transfer them to other clients, etc. Because it was interesting, you talked about learning before, and also from the management perspective, we had to learn a lot because we did some mistakes. We did some mistakes in our offers, in our calculations. We had to sort out what kind of contract do we need with American companies. We made some mistakes. And then we compared profitability, did it work, did it not work, and then we had surprises, and finally we know how to do it. And you have to calculate what does this mean in the future? Do we have the means to go over there? Do we have the capacity? Do we have the ability, also management-wise? And we came to the conclusion, yes, we have. So we made a business plan, it's solid, we put it in front of the board of directors. They said yes 2 weeks ago, and we have now a budget of roughly 1.2 million for next year. It's the goal. It's a trial and error. We cannot promise this. It's a new country. We just can try. Maybe we fail, maybe we succeed, maybe we over succeed. But we try. And the motto is, after a few months, maybe let's say in Q2, if we can see it works, we can multiply our successes, and Jazz has the ability to connect with many more people. The way he does it, the way you know him, and we can, how shall I say, everybody involved use in those aspects where he or she is the best, and Jazz can use his strengths, then we will definitely hit the targets. And once we do that, we have the, let's say, the financial means to open a business unit. But that means, what does this mean? A business unit is maybe first just a letterbox office, as we say it in German, ein Briefkastenfirma. You cannot open an office like this because it costs a lot of money, so we have to earn it. Maybe we do open a legal entity, then we have an office, we have an address, we can do local contracts, we can hire people, we have also to pay taxes, that's important. We have to create transfer pricing, etc., etc. We don't have to do this now. But when everything goes according to plan, we do the legal entity during somewhere next year, maybe in the middle, maybe towards the end of the year. And once this goes more ahead, we will establish an office, maybe hire 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, look for another chest, have a second chest, a third chest, and we can multiply everything. And in the end, we could establish 100 times 100 within the USA alone, because it's so big. And that's what you said in the beginning. It's so big, this country. We cannot just open an office and do, or let's say start with engineering mandates as we do here. Because you can't do an engineering mandate when you have to travel 5 hours by plane to your customer. It's not possible. That's the challenge in the USA. That's why they're much more digital. So we have to act in another way. We don't know yet. We have to try.
And I think America will happen. Yeah. Okay. Just like I thought 1 million would happen. But I think that what's really, really important for me personally is for this not to be like, are we going to go to America, but are we going to start injecting this as a way we do business everywhere? You know? And are we going to try and create more collaboration, more engagement, try to even find the projects that the engineers want to work on, yeah, to make things more successful for everyone all around.
And one important thing is, it's really important what we learned about being authentic, be open for failure, be open for learning. We have a plan for sure, but it's so everything new if we don't achieve exactly what is planned. So let's try to learn. If we don't hit our plans, then don't stop it as you would do it here, because here we know everything how it works in Switzerland. We have to really be open to learn, to expand our organization, and we will definitely fail from time to time. But that's the message, just keep going in the way, and when you go and keep going, you will eventually succeed.
So it's so much about culture, isn't it? I mean, we have the same in Geneva where we tried to apply the Swiss-German model, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
The Genevian people, the Francos, they're not really into that. So now we have to apply the French style or the Swiss Roman style, and then now that's so that's like the same issue. Now we have to go to America. We have to do it the American way. Anyway, it's always that.
Do you have a big wallet? I mean, not in the sense of I want to have money from them, but when we offer a project there, Swiss companies usually just look at the money like it's too expensive. So is it also an issue, like can you really offer what you need to have on personal efforts in the project, or do you have to go like down?
No. The market's pretty much similar.
Yeah.
The market's being influenced in the same way that Singapore's being influenced. There is a price aspect to it. Because let's face it, America likes to go to places like India. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's almost the same, like.
Precisely. Yeah. But this is why I always try to concentrate on what our value is, and our value is this. So, and it's always been the same. It's 100 by 100, local, global. And collaboration, because as my Swisscom mobile builds always teach me, I'm too lazy to change once I'm happy with something working.
True, actually.
How are you going to scale up? So my experiences with the collaboration part is a lot easier to sell if you have trust of someone, but it's a lot harder to get yourself out of the project once you have won it.
This is happening. This is my next evolution now.
Okay. You have to find your way how to do it properly.
Yeah, no, I mean it took a while, but my customers now know that I sort of cruise in and out of the projects.
Yeah.
And I've learned to 500% trust my team. And it's a real big shame that we don't have Bart and Ruben on the call today, because I'm delegating everything to them. It's up to them to decide how many developers we have, who does the work. I don't care. It could be they can pick a team of 100 or 5 people. That's not my problem. They're responsible for delivery. You know? My role is to just focus on winning the customer and then trying to hand it over to them. So.
But you said that the collaboration and your original way just connected you with the client.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't the client like Mr. You just want him and then you just give it away to somebody else? Or
Sure. Mm-hmm.
do you transfer the trust that they have in you to the customer?
Yeah.
To our teams.
So, okay, maybe this could be good news for some people or not. But one of the things I started to do for myself is, because it took a long time for me to figure out what the hell is jazz, yeah? Especially in Switzerland, yeah? So now I started to position myself as what I kind of coined to be a contract CTO. So I'm like a consultant CTO for a small project, and then I try to act like that. And what does the CTO do? He sets the direction, the vision, tries to just get the coordination on connected to technology, market, business. And I'm step by step, I'm trying to operate more and more in that role. And that's kind of fun for me because now, rather than worrying about what's happening in sprint 1, 2, 3, I'm kind of wondering how are we going to position the product on the market and all of these kind of fun things. I mean, I was very, very happy to hear, win that last mandate that I got for the blockchain project, because they want me to help build a market strategy. Yeah. And it's cool, I'm sat there thinking, that's going to look great on the CV, yeah. But that's the fun part. So that's how I'm behaving, and I think this is probably something, right? This is something that Lasse is probably experiencing himself to some degree, as more operational in the projects. I've definitely started hassling you.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. No, but I like that. I like solving problems and collaborating again. I think there's 6 nationalities that I've been working with on this, just on one of the projects. None of them are Swiss, in fact, funny enough. But that, I mean, from my part, Yeah.
I think it's also, the word authenticity is also working because I'm telling the customer, I built this kind of, or we're building this kind of culture, and you can trust that culture. And the culture is about, being customer focused. We don't look at always the money or the hours or the mistakes that we're making. We think about how do we make that customer happy. Which is sometimes why the profitability is not.
I wanted to ask, is the CEO also he doesn't care about, or never mind.
I think as when we get better, I mean, now that we have started and you had some guys who weren't the right guys involved, I think now we start to learn where in the SDCs we have the right people, who to call. So if there is something that has to be done now, we know exactly where to go and get it done now. Yeah.
Precisely.
One thing
is
that is important from the profitability view. Once the team is perfect in collaboration, you can be sure that profitability comes from itself. Because the good teams, they collaborate efficient, and that means also profitability. And if the profitability goes down, there obviously is something wrong with the team. Right? Something is blocking their impediments, maybe even between the people on a human touch. And profitability is just a reflector of that. That's an interesting learning also.
Exactly. I want to say that should be the goal of the team, not even the financial goal, but just you're working together and you like that, so you get.
It's a win-win, huh? If this is working, the financials are working as well.
Yes.
So one of the best pictures I always like to do is a business is a bit like driving a car. As long as there's gas coming in, you can afford for the engine to be not working properly. As long as you have gas coming in. And then you can continue to work on making that engine more efficient. And eventually, profitability will be good.
Then you have an electronic car or something.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, Elon Musk comes along, different hands of money. Yeah. But no, and I think I mean, I'll just I'll proudly say that I'm very happy with what we have achieved. because for the very, very, very first time, we opened up a market unit that was bringing in a decent chunk of cash before anyone had even taken a foot in that country. You know. So that's it, and I'm always going to smile at that. You know. And that's something. Maybe it's not just about America being great. It's more, and I maybe try to make the session about this. Maybe it's about the way we can be great.
And you can be great, because I'm sure everyone in here has some connections that live in the US, maybe, or have been there, or know somebody who lives there, blah blah blah. Just tell us, tell Chaz, tell me. We manage this. Just give us the contact, and the rest we do. So you can participate. You can support us, support Chaz, and support who else. Once we're growing, there are more people involved in the US story, huh? All those people working in the US story, you can help them support, or you can even be part of it yourself once we're scaling. So help to shape this wonderful early story.
Are there any more questions then, or any more learnings?
What was the first source of leads?
This dude I met, a guy called Dale, is a CTO in Charleston. So we started talking about, it's really funny. This is really, really funny. I had to interview him to do a HoloLens project, a potential HoloLens project. And I asked him 3 questions, that was it, yeah? I didn't bore him too long. I just said to him, do you know about, you know, in a very kind of Jedi way, I just asked him what his principles about clean coding were, what his thoughts about automation were, and that's it, yeah? And he just really liked the way I did that. I didn't bore him, didn't waste his time, and we connected because he kind of said, at least I'm talking about the same things that he cares about. And he was actually the first person that brought us our very first project. I can't say this word enough, authenticity. It's terrible if you're authentic and you fail, that's worse. But so, I have spoken a lot about myself, and I'm going to try to ask you guys now about yourself, because America is about individualism. It is about celebrating who you are as a person, the good, the bad, the ugly, and trying to celebrate what you can do to be successful. So I don't know if any of these points have actually struck in your minds throughout the session. Any kind of takeaways or anything that you want to share or are willing to share. All right, hi Jakob. Good. So maybe let's ask Jakob quickly. What have you learned, Jakob?
Am I still in the call? I lost the picture. Okay, like what I learned, like during the journey, we learned a lot of things, like saying sometimes no, like is one learning. I always try to say yes, we can, we do, and sometimes it's correct answer and say no, we won't, and let's focus to something else. We sometimes try to win with all our power, and this power can be used more ambitiously on different customer. So this is one thing. The second thing is that in the US the speed is the winner. We can with the speed when we compare how we work with industry customers from Switzerland and how we work with in US, then in 10x difference in speed. So this was the next learning, and and from this session I learned that yes, this video call, how we are doing it, is probably not the best way.
Okay, come here.
with I like really this point with authenticity.
Yeah, good. Let's say anything, learnings? You had loads, but yeah.
I think my strength is also my weakness, generally, in this project. Is, I mean, when you asked me to join this and help out, and I realized what it's about and how the whole setup is, I get very enthusiastic. I put a lot of passion into it, and then that means that maybe I'm not as keen on my other projects that I have at the same time. But I like this whole this mentality of the way we're working on this full steam ahead, and maybe that's also making me mix it up a bit too much.
I think this is also the thing. I personally don't want USA projects to be the cool projects and other projects to be uncool projects. A little bit like that Kanban thing. Why can't we all just start taking learnings and spreading them around? Things that work, probably in all directions.
I think that's my primary.
But it's easier to get the resources if the US for you if the US projects are the cool projects.
You can ask this from Jakob. Jakob will tell you that it's never easy to get resources. But yeah, but the thing is that I do believe, and I still believe, or I've always believed in learning culture. So I really want people to really help good ideas spread. Yeah, that's the thing for me. That's very important to me. Because it is very, very, very important to me the way we do engineering. Because when I was an engineer, it was one of the most thrilling, fun, exciting parts of my career. And I try and help influence that with what I think might help. Yeah? So.
And maybe one learning from my side, I guess we don't have to look at the US projects as the really coolest ones. Maybe you could just take the learnings and implement in your own projects. Be the PO, okay, let your team more freedom and let them prototype one sprint. You will see the results. Or, it's not, you don't have to follow, if you love this way, you can try it out on your project, if you have the possibility.
That's why I meant, like, I have a really, really good team. One from Bratislava and from Philippines. I love them, and that's exactly, I can let them do. I trust them. I give them the user story. They ask me if I forgot something. Like they are thinking with me, not just I am the one who says do. They do exactly how they have. That's why I'm asking if we can have like sort of tribes where you have your team, and in this team you're just delivering. I have some.
No, that's definitely directionally. That's definitely the way I think we should go. Yeah. But I'll let other people decide about the implementation. The one thing I've learned a little bit as an observation is, I think, and I don't know for sure, but I think in other projects people are not willing to trust as much. Yeah. They call it management. Yeah. And it starts to break this thing about agile for me. Yeah.
But the point is, we are all working in the same company. It would be different if I have like a supplier or something like this that I have to give any task. But they work with me. They are my colleagues. So, but of course, I always talk to them with video conferences, so we see each day practically. So we have something connects us.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I can understand this. And I think one of the things for us is that, and maybe this kind of fits into the way we're doing the work. What we do is actually what we deliver to the customer. And it's this prototype, it's this MVP, it's never a report. And to be honest, the customers don't care really if you're 59 or 69% done. They do care is the product and they actually bring value to them.
This could be something that America is special. Because I just had a similar example from Germany. It was like, we have 2 less bugs. Things that I never heard before in the project. It was like, what? I want to have more bugs. Let's do it. I mean, that's a stupid sentence, but maybe you get the point.
And I do see that too, and I I think that there's some, I mean, we could talk about this forever, but I think that depending on the way you work, like so every time I work, people work my way. Yeah? Really weird, yeah? No one ever makes me write reports, yeah? I feel sorry for that guy, yeah? But it's because the way I do it seems to work. So that's the way we can influence the way anyone does business.
I think it's because they chime in with you. You are passionate. You convey your energy. They see it. It becomes. How do you say that? They become passionate about it as well, and you convey that to the customer as well. They become passionate, and then that's just it breaks down these barriers, right? I think that's the key. Like I said before, that you have your passion. That's how you connect, and that's how you connect with everybody, and that's why it works. That's why people follow your lead, because you're showing, you're the source of that energy, right? And
but I do strongly believe that we all have that passion.
I do too, but somebody maybe needs to show, right? Initiate it at least.
Exactly. Yeah.
And deliver fast, so that the customer sees yes.
Yeah, but if you're motivated, you'll be efficient, right? And then you can afford taking a day off for a team event just to connect, and then so that everything works well and everybody knows each other, trusts each other, and then be more efficient.
Exactly. And I you know, I always work, like my brain doesn't work with process, works with culture, yeah? People keep trying to make a process for the success, and I think, why not make a culture for success? It just seems to work much better. That's my opinion. And that's what we're trying to instill. Yeah. And so again and again, I'm always interested in how does this relate to you in your daily lives? You come here to learn about the projects. Does it relate?
So to me, like if I would think about what you're telling, right? For me, one of the key messages is be authentic, communicate about your passion. I myself, I am always authentic. I never have I never wear a charade. So that's not an issue. I always say what I think. I'm always communicating on a normal level. It's more, but at the same time, I am more of an introvert. I don't like to talk, although it might seem that I talk a lot. I don't know.
That's just
I don't want to see you as an extrovert now.
Yeah. No, this is actually true. I don't really like talking. But if I'm passionate about it, I do, and that's the key thing. I need to find the passion and use that to connect with people.
Always, yeah, always, yeah. You're never going to see me passionate about spreadsheets.
We need to share that.
But no, Swisscom. How does it relate to your Swisscom world?
Yeah, I think really about the authentic point, because you could see now lots of people will be probably losing their job. I don't know, like with all these transformations. So they said it quite openly, like you have to embrace this change, you know. So I think this applies to, like, if you're not authentic to yourself, you know that's not gonna work out. So either you just leave your job or you just be flexible with it and try to live with this DevOps.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Embrace learning.
Yeah.
Everyone else, has this session delivered you what you expected, wanted, hoped for, needed?
No. But it was still very, very interesting. I mean, I had totally different expectation. But it's very interesting what you formed out of this session.
And what I'm going to do, because some of you, I know you, Matthias, want to know much more about projects individually, yeah? I'll take the effort now to connect you guys to the project teams. So for the people that are interested, you can start learning what they're doing and how they're doing it. You know. If you want to know all about UX, Lasse is always there, I'm sure. And the other UX people that we have, yeah. And yeah, for me, it's really try and embrace individualism in what we're gonna, trying to make this brand new early.
Yeah, to me, Jazz, I mean, I also came here expecting something completely different. I expected you to present what you did in the US and how it worked, etc., etc. But this became a much more personal conversation, a personal message. And like I said, individualism, right? Be about yourself, about us.
Exactly.
I like that much better than just hearing you talk about what you did.
And showing spreadsheets.
Yes, exactly. This is my effort to be a little bit more American. Okay. So so let's go hit the apéro, and I'm still around for questions, and I hope you all enjoyed the session. Do you have a question? Okay. Thank you, Jakob, for taking part.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Jakob.
Bye.